What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the preview for Inter at home against Juve. The biggest game, probably of both of our seasons at the start of the season, depending if you reach a Champions League final. If not, then it's probably the biggest game of the season for both sets of fan bases. So it's only right to bring on Anthony and have a good discussion, a good preview, a different preview than usual, and talk about the game that's coming up, the issues we might face, they might face. I don't know, the issues we have on our end, the issues they potentially have on their end. But first off, how are you doing? How are you feeling? How are you feeling ahead of the game?
Doing well. Good to be here, to be back on your channel. Thanks for having me on again. Thanks to everybody that comes through and watches it. Feeling good-ish, but not great. It's really nice to win in the Champions League. It's really nice to win in the last minute. But when the adrenaline wears off and when the excitement wears off and when you wake up the next day, you start to think about the 92 and a half minutes that were not great versus the 10 seconds of ecstasy. And we're going to need to be better, much better, if we are going to keep the 3 points at the Miazza and show Serie A that we are still superior in some elements to you guys. Whether that's going to happen or not, we will get to that. But I think that's how we're feeling going into this one, bro. What about you guys? What about yourself?
Well, I saw your performance against Young Boys. I had it on. Did feel me. It did make me feel a bit better. But like you said, after the final whistle, I thought about our game against Stuttgart, and the feeling was gone. It was gone really quickly because, as you know, we played a horrible game on Tuesday, like absolutely a shocking performance in terms of we just got outplayed for 90 minutes, like literally from start to finish. We got played off the park at home, and it ahead of a big game against Inter. That's filling absolutely nobody with confidence. Not the fans, not the players. It's impossible. Because it's not one of those games where you actually had some positives. There was nothing positive out of that game. Besides Perin looking like prime Buffon, there was nothing positive out of that game. So it doesn't, like, if anyone had a good feeling ahead of Inter, that probably died on Tuesday completely. And I see a lot of people being pessimistic about it. You know, I've seen people say they're just gonna slaughter us. I've seen the media playing it to that regard, saying that it can be a very long day for Juve, and it could be. If you play like we did on Tuesday, it will be a very long day. But I expect them to show up, you know, and they must show up. That's the title of this preview. We must show up. We have no choice. We have a lot of issues, injuries, but you're missing, I think, Çalhanoğlu and Acerbi, I think it is,
Yeah.
pretty
And
much.
Carlos
We
Augusto
miss.
now as well.
We are missing players. Oh yeah, he got out. We miss players, and I know it. You guys, I think you guys can cope with it better because you have certain mechanisms and team players playing longer together. For us, it's fix it on the go. But I don't feel sorry for Motta and the players. I don't feel sorry because this is it. This is Juve, and you're gonna deal with these things. And now you need to deal with it. But I'm calm, you know, ahead of the game. I'm looking forward to it because this is probably. We had Napoli at home, but nobody was really sure about Napoli. This is it, you know. This is the big game. Are we up there or are we just way off still? And is it way too soon for us in the process to actually have some ambition for this season? But yeah, that's kind of my general feeling going into that game. You know, that we must show up, and that's why I think that should carry us. You know, I know we lack some quality right now with injuries, and we have some deficiencies, which we'll get into it in a second. But we must is the basis of, okay, you must put in a good performance, even if it's just a bare minimum, and outrun Inter, you know, and keep them at bay just purely based on energy, which based on Tuesday is not looking good. But we have no choice. We have absolutely no choice. Like, I'm not gonna go overboard saying the season is over if we lose against Inter. It's not that, but we need to show something, you know. Even if in a loss, and nobody wants to lose against Juve or Inter, but even in a loss, I will learn a lot about Sunday's performance, you know. So that's basically our Excuse me. That's how we are heading into the game with a lot of question marks. Really quickly on you guys. Oh no, not quickly, but you have some question marks because, like you said, you won. I watched the game. It wasn't good. It really wasn't good. Which was I was surprised because I don't think Young Boys are a very good team, if I'm being completely honest. But you had a very difficult time, and maybe it could have been easier if you scored that pen earlier on. Maybe that would have opened up the game. But I think that's who he is this season. um, so how are you looking to it? Because you won, but like you said, it's not going as it should right now, or as smooth as it should be.
I think in context, man, we're just seeing the fruits of this ridiculously congested season, which we don't need to go into. We opened with it in our last joint show together for a good 5 minutes. It's going to get worse as the season goes on. Young Boys are one of the easier, if not the easiest side in the Champions League, and it was still made to look like a very difficult away trip in Europe. Bro, they play in Switzerland. Does the plane even get halfway up into the clouds before it has to land again from Milan to where they were playing? Just for context, they're behind Lugano in the table.
I
Lugano
saw that.
are our preseason bitch boys. That's all I'm gonna say it, man. We go to Lugano at the start of every preseason to score 5 goals and boost our confidence. And I could just tell as we were approaching the young boys game, like too many factors pointing to a large win might not be. It might go in the other direction. As it goes for Marko Arnautovic, when you look at players walking up to the penalty spot and you're like, oh, I wish I could just bet against him so quickly right now because his face said the whole story before he even kicked that ball. And I know that he wanted that extra responsibility, but guess what? It's not about you. But for Arnautovic, it's been all about him since he came back to the club. We can tell he didn't come back here for us. He's come back here to stat pad the late part of his career. And the one positive to come out of that is I don't think he will ever take a penalty for Inter again. It should have been Taremi. Taremi scored last time. Taremi is a polite gentleman. I wish he was more of a C word in that situation and walked up to Arnautovic and went, nah, brother, that's my penalty until I miss. And when I miss, you can take it, my friend. But it didn't work like that. And I think Barella, Lautaro, and Inzaghi had some words after the game to solve that situation. Altogether, it's good to get the 3 points because I think we've got a couple of home games in the next 3 in the Champions League, but altogether that last minute goal would have given us that injection of confidence that we needed going into this Sunday/Monday, wherever you're watching it in the world. That being said, though, the last time we had a fixture this big, I spoke to you, I spoke to everyone, I spoke on my channel, and we were supposed to beat Milan. We did not beat Milan. Derbies form goes out the window. Everything goes out the window. So the form and the squads available is not going to dictate the result to me. I'm going to go old school PTSD in this one and pick one of the most grindy results possible when we get to that prediction phase at the end. I think it's going to be a slugfest, bro. I think both of our teams are coming in here with the mentality of must not lose.
Oh, I, it could be more of a damage control game, especially from our part. If I don't know if you watched our game, or bits of it. We got outplayed, like literally on all levels, like in all facets of play, like everything. Like we had no answers, whatever we did. So we got absolutely ripped apart, on tactical levels, making subs, in-game idea, like everything. Right now on Tuesday, on Sunday, it's basically go back to basics and try to keep it simple, like I said, and don't like. Obviously, we cannot think about the Stuttgart game, but we can also not really think about the table. If we go into the game thinking about we cannot lose because it's so many points, it's way too early for that. We need to go out there and be solid because we've been solid so far this season. That's the first game we got actually ripped apart, like unbelievable. I think nobody was expecting that. It was bound to happen to have a bad game, but that was next level bad game. That was just what just happened. Like nobody actually knew what was happening. I was watching that at 6 minutes into the game. I was like, wake up, because this is gonna be a long day, and it was a very long day for us. Coming out of it with nothing positive, and now we need to go away to Inter, and I know they're not firing on all cylinders. But that's a game that I've watched us come back from Serie B and play unbelievable games against you guys and win. You know, I've seen it. You know, it's different. Like form and everything just goes out of the window. It should go out of the window in these type of games. It purely should be. I'm gonna play based on adrenaline right here. You know, and if I had a
Mm-hmm.
shit game on Tuesday, I'm gonna have a monster game on Sunday because I'm gonna put in that extra shift. You know, so I agree. I think it's gonna be a slugfest. I do. I don't think it's gonna be. I like. There are no signs pointing towards an eye-catching games. Two teams going for it. I don't. I don't have that feeling the way it's building up. I know the media is trying to build it up as of we should and must win, otherwise we're screwed. I'm like, no, it will be an extremely bad week, you know, for Juve fans, but it's not all over. So I don't think we're gonna go out there and just play wide open. If you know what I mean, just go for
Yeah.
it. Like, no, it needs to be level-headed for us as well because after that game on Tuesday, we need to come out of that game with some sort of positive feeling. Even if you don't win that game, if you come out of that with we had a good performance again, it feels like okay, it's back on track. You know, that Tuesday game was just a complete off day. That's
Yeah.
how I'm looking at that game because I don't expect a high quality level of game, especially with the players missing as well. I would be very
Mm.
surprised, you know, because Çalhanoğlu is key for you guys.
Yep.
The way you play, and I know a lot of people do not want to hear it. Koopmeiners is for us. He is, you know,
Mhm.
we don't we already struggle with creating. We are not even close to creating anything without him. Like, it's not even close. And we need to deal with it. And it's up to Motta to find solutions right now. So that's basically it. You know, I'm looking for answers. I'm looking for Motta to show me something in moments of difficulties. Not to say that if he
Yeah.
doesn't do, I'm coming on and say, ah, you're not the guy. It's ridiculous to do that. But I need to see some sort of reaction, you know, mindset
Mm.
wise and also just football wise a little bit.
That's fair. That's fair. Everything you said is fair. I don't really have much of a reply to it, but I do have a question that I wanted to ask you. I was thinking about what I wanted to ask you yesterday. Um, in terms of the squad rotation, how much time do you think the fans will allow Motta before he settles on a regular 11 with with identifiable subs? And I know like he's been dealt a shit hand, excuse my language, because the injuries, like no manager wants this. But at the end of the day, you need to plan for this in a way. There
Yep.
has to be a contingency plan. Like you're saying, you know, you want to see Motta in moments of adversity, in moments of difficulty, react and show you something. And I'm interested to hear your response to that. I'll be back in 10 seconds, man. I'm just going to put my annoying dog outside.
Yeah. I mean, fans are looking for um, some sort of stability. Like, funnily enough, I think it's more 50-50. I think a lot of fans are still on the fence with it, you know, are okay with rotation, are okay with giving Motta some time to find the squad, and I'm on that part. I agree. You know, he needs some time to find solutions and see what works best. What I don't like is that when you make subs just for the sake of making subs, just to let players rest. And I know we play a lot of games, but we need to build some sort of consistency in this team. Whether is it a left back or a right back, or is it our midfield, especially that midfield. I think that's key, and that needs to be consistent. You know, I don't know a lot of clubs, if not none, successful clubs who chop and change their midfield every single week. I don't. I really don't. So for me, it's more of a thing of there are certain parts in the team I don't think you can really play a lot with, in my opinion, and especially right now, until we found the right balance, until we found the right, you know, this is what's gonna work. I can see that if you move on some attackers here and there, or maybe one left back, but especially that midfield. If I need to see another two-man midfield every single week, it's not easy. That's kind of the main part of your team. If it's one McKennie and Locatelli, then it's Fagioli, then it's Douglas Luiz. I don't think that's a good idea. You know, rest is good, but there are certain parts I think you cannot change. So I understand him. You know, I understand that he's looking for his best formation, and Koopmeiners being out is not helping. But it's 1 week Locatelli, then it's Fagioli back in the team, then it's McKennie, then Douglas Luiz, and I struggle to see how we can find some consistency. If we are 1 year in this project, whatever, I think you can do that more often. I think players are just in check with what needs to happen. But right now, I think it's a bit too much. I'm not gonna lie. And funny enough, we're gonna see another change on Sunday. It's gonna happen because something needs to happen. Yildiz is not playing well on the left hand side. He's struggling, you know. So to help him out and just help us out right now, I think he's gonna be moved on behind Vlahovic. I think it will happen. Now Douglas Luiz is injured again, as well. So we need to find a solution for that. But I think he's gonna change something on Sunday. Again, I don't have an issue with that on Sunday because we are in this situation right now. But if everybody's fit, I don't want to see two different midfielders every single match day. I don't think that's cool. You know, Cambiaso got a rest against Stuttgart from the beginning. I was like, nah, I think he can play and on Sunday. If you want to rest him at Parma midweek, I'm like, cool. I get that, you know. But Stuttgart and Inter, I thought that was one of the weirdest decisions he has made this season. I'm like, he's one of your best players. Come on. Like, these are big games. Play him, you know, and rest him against Parma, I would say. Or rest him the last 30 minutes against Inter, you know. I think Wells comes on, can probably do a job as well, depending on the game is going. So he's going to need to learn. It's not Bologna, it's Juve. And there is some certain pressure, you know, and you play a lot of games. And I think he's still getting used to playing every 3 days. I really am. But it's part of it.
Yeah, for sure. Thierry Henry said it a couple of days ago. He goes, I see when I see players getting rotated this early in the season, like Rodri, he was talking from a Premier League perspective, like, oh, Rodri's already getting rested and rotated. It's like, no, play your games. It's October. You don't need to be resting and rotating your best players. Obviously, he's talking from a bit of a grander scale, but I would agree too. If Cambiaso's fit, play him the same way that when players are fit for Inter, Inzaghi doesn't care. If you're fit, you're playing. I'm not really changing much. Now, when it came to this particular game against Young Boys, you need to just expect collateral rotation because that's an opponent where you break the rules in that regard. But I think, you know, going on what you said with the midfield inconsistency, that's something that has stuck for us very well under Inzaghi. And, you know, so many fans week in, week out, even last season, were like, when is he going to bench Mkhitaryan? When is he going to rotate Mkhitaryan? And I was one of the fans that were like, Mabasta, shut your mouths. You guys don't know what you're talking about here. We're winning game after game. The tactical identity is there. Henrik Mkhitaryan, for any other reason besides his age, why are you guys upset? This is exactly where you want to be. And when it comes to your midfield, like it was tattooed. And that's why Hakan is a huge loss, man, because apparently Aslani is only about 70% fit as well. And we don't really rate Aslani that highly here. But he is the backup regista, and everybody knows how complicated it gets when you change somebody's role altogether on the day. Barella has been world class, but he doesn't play well in a regista role, in a deep lying role, and we are sacrificing a huge element of our progressive attack, a huge element of our midfield play by moving him from that box-to-box right-sided decision into a deep lying role. So I really, really hope that Aslani is fit enough to start this game against you guys, because either or, you should be licking your lips at the idea of Hakan not being there. It's a huge hole in our side.
Oh, we all know that. Like we all know that. Maybe it's a bit of a shame that we're going into these games, both teams not being fully equipped, because I think that would be a more of a better measuring stick, especially for us, to see where we really are. I know it's very early on in the season still, but yeah, like if I want to beat a team, I want to beat the best. I've always said it. You know, if I play Man City, if we beat a B team Man City, it doesn't fill me with any confidence. I'm like, cool, you know what I mean? Or a B team Inter, it's like now we're basically going into this game both with issues. Like we play McKennie, who's not fit as well. That was evident on Tuesday, and he's gonna play. So we're all dealing. Like Vlahovic is the only player we have up front. Like that's our situation. Literally, we don't have another striker up front right now. It's him, and that's it. Figure it out. You know, week in, week out. So it's not ideal for both sets of team. But for us, I'm like, we knew that at the start of the season. Injuries are part of it. It's just now they're just piling on, like at a ridiculous pace. But yeah, man, it's again, like I said a second ago, Sunday it's more about, even if you're not 100% fit, just the adrenaline should push you to the 100%, in my opinion. Like, it should push you to the 100%, because that game, you just go that extra mile. Even if you feel you really can't, you just go on it based on adrenaline. That's
Hmm.
how I watch these games usually. When I
Yep.
watched us play Milan 2 seasons ago, and we set up in our own half for 90 minutes, I was disgusted. Like, I
Hmm.
remember that game vividly. Like, I will never forget that game. I
Which
came
which
out.
one? Which one was that one, brother?
We
What year? Which
lost
one?
2-0 2 seasons ago. Away to Milan. Away
Is
to
this the
Milan.
season when Napoli won the Scudetto?
Yeah. No.
This probably
Yeah.
wasn't too
It
far
wasn't. It
away
wasn't.
from when you got clapped up 5-0 from
Yeah.
Napoli as well. I remember this period of time. It was disaster zone.
We went to the San Siro and we had one chance in the opening few minutes, and we sat back on our own half and we got still destroyed. And I was disgusted. I was like, this is unacceptable, because you're
Mm.
playing Milan. You're not playing 2003 Milan. Like, just get a grip. I felt disgusted. I'm not gonna lie. Like, that, I will never forget. That was going to the San Siro and hope for a point. The moment you do that in top games, you're done. Like, that's how I'm. Especially if you're not good as well, you're cooked.
Yeah,
If you're not
yeah.
good, just give it a go. That's how I'm viewing at it. If you're in a down moment, just give it a go. Like, surprise the team and just go for it. I don't know, but that's that, I guess. On the game itself, pressure. Do you think there is pressure on Inzaghi um, to win that game? And comfortably win that game, especially not just fluke it, young boy style, but actually make a statement on Sunday.
Once again, I think it comes back again to how the teams approach it and how they play. If both teams can walk off knowing that they gave 100% and it was a slugfest, and it's come down to small moments, I think both teams will walk away fairly happy. I don't think the result in general piles the pressure on either of the two managers, because that would be really, really stupid to weigh so much on a result like this that can go either way. Um, where Inzaghi will come under criticism from his own fans, and the extension, I guess, in the football realm will be how he manages the game around about that hour mark, especially if we're still chasing a goal. Some of his substitutions this season have been questionable. Some of them have been really good. Um, we know that if a player is sitting on a yellow card, he will most likely sub them out prematurely. So I think that that'll be a game plan of Thiago Motta to see if he can target some weak areas there and maybe get a couple of sneaky bookings as early as possible. However, I don't think, to answer your original question, I don't think the result itself is the pressure. It's more so the approach to the game, how we go into it. Do we look like we want to win, or are both teams going to play chicken shit for 45 minutes and then come out with a different game plan in the second half? I don't think either sets of fans wants to see that. I don't think either sets of fans is keen to watch both teams mop the floor for 45 minutes and then see who can get lucky in the second half. But, brother, it's match day 9, not match day 29. So the points altogether, I don't think will be the be all and end all. It'll be how the feelings, how both teams leave their fans feeling at the end of it, which at the end of the day, nothing is more important than the win. I mean, I'm sure both of us right now had two options on the table: was play sexy football and draw the game 2-2, or play disastrous football, be second best, be honestly due the game and win 1-0. We'll both take the 1-0 and we'll both walk out with chest going, yeah, we played like trash, but we won this game. So it's a pick your poison sort of thing. And yeah, I'm sort of glad that it's only match day 9, because mentally I don't think I'm ready to put this many emotional eggs in the 3 points basket for this derby.
No, I agree. Like, if we play a horrible game, on Sunday, then, and it's still 0-0 very late, then in the back of my mind I'm like, yeah, shit houses win. Like, I don't care. I'm gonna be shameless. I am.
Yeah.
But if it's a horrible game and it ends 0-0, I think I will come out of that game, I'm like, what was the point, really? Like, we didn't improve, we didn't learn anything, we didn't get a point. Maybe you're like, oh, we were horrible, but you got a point. But if you guys are horrible as well, then it's like, that was kind of a waste for everybody's time, especially performance-wise. You have nothing to go off. So it depends, I said it on my channel, like, these are the games that in general, you'll just take a win, even if it's a deflected goal in the dying seconds. You take it and you run with it. You know,
Yep.
it's one of these games where I'm like, I don't need us to play good football. I just need to win. You
Yep.
know, but I don't think we're gonna win based on what I've seen Tuesday. I don't think like it feels impossible based on Tuesday. So that's why I'm
Yep.
entering with the mindset of look good. You know, show me something that you didn't show or that you forgot to show us on Tuesday, because that was actually a disaster game. That was probably worse than some of last season's games. You know, we got absolutely cooked, like literally cooked. We had no answers. Now I don't think Inter are gonna play like Stuttgart play, because that was to a ridiculous level at one point. Um, but it you're gonna, like, you're at home. You're just gonna, you know, try to keep possession. We will try that, but you're at home. You will probably have the possession, and it will be on us, you know, to actually find the ideas to break between the lines, which we couldn't do against Stuttgart, which was frustrating because there was so much space. But for some reason, they pressed the hell out of us, and we had no idea what to do, you know? So that's something that definitely needs to improve, because I'm not going into the game scared. Actually, I'm never going into a game scared, you know?
Yep.
If I do that, then what's the point of me watching that game? However,
Exactly.
I need to go into that game and I need to see something earlier on. You know, if I'm watching 50 minutes and we get dominated on the ball and we cannot even cross the half, then I know where this game is going. You know, because I've seen it a bit coming lately. We do not score a lot of goals. We don't create a lot of chances. Usually, we don't give up anything. Besides on Tuesday, we give up very, very little. That's why I say I don't think we're gonna play like Stuttgart, because they
Yeah.
pressed like madman. It was unbelievable. It was actually beautiful to see. It pains me to say
Yeah.
that, but it was beautiful to see. Um, but I know what Motta was saying in his presser today, or when the video drops. He'll say we need to control the game. We need to play it on our, you know, on our terms. But he said that against Stuttgart, and he was watching, and there were no terms. Like there was nothing. The term was
Mm.
Stuttgart saying, "It's us. Shut up," and it's us. You know, and it was sad to
Yeah.
see, and I felt for him a little bit, where it's like he was standing there and he couldn't get a tune of these guys. He came out and he said, "It's on me." You know, I had no solution for these players. I couldn't help the players out there. That's on me. You know, that's why I've always said that coaching is important. When you got played off the park, the players are not going to figure it out on himself.
Yeah.
Like it's
Yeah.
11 players, they're all thinking their own thing. It needs to be the coach, and hopefully he learned from that, because that was a hard lesson to learn, like a really hard lesson to learn. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, man, I've seen Bologna play Inter last season, and it was good. You know, it was good. It was tough. So like that's why I'm not scared. Like I'm not scared that Motta is in a situation where it's like it's too big. These games are too big. You know, that's not the case.
Question for you there, though, bro. Do you think that Thiago Motta, it's easier to go into matches against Inter managing Bologna with no fear versus Juve? There's going to be an element of protection that comes with managing Juve and, being a little bit more
Yeah,
conservative.
I mean, if you lose with Bologna to Inter, nobody will really care. You
Exactly.
know, but he's gonna need to learn. He learned that on Tuesday. Like he learned
Yeah.
that if that was Bologna in
Lesson.
the Champions League and they lost against Stuttgart, nobody would bat an eye, really. You know, oh, it's amazing you're in the Champions League. You know, but it's Juve and you got bopped off the park and you get criticized for it. Like that's how it should be.
Yeah.
You know, I did that for every single coach. You know, I did that for Sarri, like name it, for Allegri last season. It would be a hypocrite to say, "Oh, but it's the first season. I don't care." I care. It looked bad. Like I need to tell people it looked bad. Now I like
Mm,
Motta, but that was bad. You know, and you had no
mm,
answers, so I wrote it down. It's in the books. It's in the notebooks. If that happens again and again and again, then we need to have a conversation. The good thing is we play
yeah.
every 3 days, and we have a big one on Sunday. The bad news is, like you said, well, players are dropping like flies. So it's something we can complain about. He's not complaining about. He said we knew it and we need to deal with it. But it's definitely holding him back quite a lot in this situation. Like we're playing with, you know, Savona, who played Serie C, because he doesn't trust Danilo for a very good reason, by the way. I try to tell people you shouldn't trust Danilo. I tried to trust Danilo pre-game against Stuttgart. Oh boy, was I wrong. Um, he doesn't trust certain players in the squad, and he does trust other players who, in my opinion, if not really committed to it to a full extent or like warrant that level of trust. But again, you're gonna write that, and you're gonna need to pay up for it at the end of the day. If it's not doesn't work, that's on you, But that's the situation right now. We're at the half an hour mark, so let's get into the predictions. What do you think? Because we talked about it, slugfest, so on. But what does your heart really say?
Well, my heart was gonna say Stinkfest before we did this video, but now I'm like convinced it's gonna be a Stinkfest. So I'm probably gonna chuck a tenner on 0-0, man. To be honest,
Ooh.
we've seen it before, and like, there is definitely a high chance it could happen again. I hope I'm wrong because I think it'll only take one goal to open up this game, obviously, but I do think that the longer the game goes on, I can see this finishing 0-0, man. I can't even see this finishing 1-1. I think it's 0-0 or 1-0 to either side.
Ooh. I was actually thinking 1-1. Like, I have 1-1 in my head all week. That was before the Stuttgart game. Then I saw the Stuttgart game. I was like, I don't think, nah, we're not going to get that point, at this rate. Then I saw you against Young Boys. I was like, maybe we will get that point. So I'm going to stick with 1-1. But right now, I'm not even convinced we get that one goal, That's how we look up front, going forward. That's how we look. It's frustrating to watch a little bit.
Is Douglas Luiz going to play this game?
No, he's injured. He got injured in pre.
Oh, he's injured for this game. That's
Yeah, warm up against Stuttgart. He was going to start, and then McKennie took his place. Thuram took his place. Excuse me. So he's not there. Koopmein's not there. Gonzalez is not there. Obviously, Bremer is out.
It'd be nice to see the two Thuram brothers play each other for the first time.
Yeah, I mean, one is on fire. The other one is ice and like fire and ice. At one point, it looks good and it looks bad. It's very weird to see. But when it looks good, it does look good. Like physically, he can dominate, and he can carry the ball. Yeah. It's just it's hot and cold with him. So we'll see. Also, we have an issue with discipline right now. Red cards, stupid mental errors. That's kind of the fear for me on Tuesday. More that discipline issue where somebody loses his head for some reason that popped up lately. So I cannot explain it, but that's what's happening. So I'm gonna stick with 1-1. Even though I'm not confident we will we will see a goal from our side, So maybe you're right, but let's see, man. Hope for the best. I can. That's all I can say right now. But I think nobody in Juve's camp is going in full confidence, and rightfully so. I think rightfully so. But yeah, people, that's a preview for us. Drop a comment in the video. What do you think prediction-wise, score-wise? Obviously, subscribe to the Anthony's channel. Link for that, is in the title. You just need to click it. It's easy. Subscribe. I know he's an Inter fan. Do not tell me that in the comments. I know who I bring on the channel. But he's one of the good guys, So, and I'm going on his channel next month for a monthly... No, this month. No, next month. Excuse me, next month.
Next month, yeah.
Yeah, so you need to be subscribed to watch that. So definitely do that. It's worth that. Other than that, Anthony, thanks for coming on. Always a pleasure, and hopefully you lose. That's all. That's all I can say right now.
I love it. I love how polite that was. Hopefully you lose. No, it's always a pleasure, man. Thank you so much. I look forward to reading the comments back here, and I'll see all of your awesome subscribers the next time we collaborate together. So yes, hope for the best. Sometimes expect the worst, but yeah, hopefully none of us come out of it feeling like complete merda.
Yeah, but yeah, people, that's it. See you post game. Ciao.